But
I'll give you ours.
let's say we have
My
10
face
parties.
right now
Let's
is
say we
more
have
than
10 parties.
30 members
Let's
in my
say.
Discord. In my Discord, there's more than
Let's say,
30
okay,
members
guys,
in my Discord.
please. Let's say we have 10 parties, okay? Party A and Party B ran presidents, okay? Presidential candidates. Party A gets 5,000 votes. Party B gets 4,000 votes. Party A wins. Party A picks Party D, who only had 5 votes as their vice presidency. How in the world is that fucking fair? How? How?
For example, I think whoever the candidate should be able to pick whoever they want in the Sunrise as their VP. If it happens to be the runner-up, great.
That's not true representation there. Like, what the fuck? Like,
democracy is tyranny, Nate. When are you gonna learn this? No, how is this not fair? Like, you vote.
It's
for
not.
example, I mean,
okay.
primaries, if people want to run into
I'll be blunt now.
I mean,
I'll be blunt.
Look,
GOP,
dude. Okay.
The GOP gets 230 votes, okay, from the GOP party, who has 200 votes, and the Distributist Party, who has 30 votes. The Libertarians get 180 votes, okay? The GOP wins. And what do? They pick the Distributists for vice presidency, but the Distributists only provided 30 votes, okay? How's that fair to the 180 who voted for the Libertarian Party and now get shafted out of everything? That's how.
I can literally walk out right now. I can literally
You're gonna walk out? You're gonna walk out because we're getting a heated discussion and you can't provide anything else to rebuttal.
I can, and I will tell you this. Sunrise 2.0. See, in Contis and LQ ran. I won. Basically, there was a little poll that went out, and Deffy remembers this.
Why don't we just pull out
There was a pew poll. I have a screen capture of it. There was a pew poll that came out about who in Contis should pick as their VP. I was voted as the number 1 pick to put as the VP for Encantus. Now, did Encantus pick me as VP? No, he picked Justify. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. He should be able to pick
it doesn't sound like
okay, if we're going to go back on old deals, we were guaranteed the White House from the last deal.
Yeah, guess what? You guys did not give a shit about it.
Okay, so why are you bringing up the old deal? If we brought up the old deal, LQ and WEA would have to support neoconists, okay, based on the terms.
I did. Guess who didn't?
That didn't happen.
Guess who didn't?
WEA.
WEA did not.
I know. Guess who didn't?
Yeah, basically, I still think that, and I'm pretty sure the GOP thinks the same as well. Anyone who's running in the primary,
I'd like to submit a motion.
No, I still think runner-up is the best solution.
No, because you're just trying to power grab here. You're just trying to power grab. That's what it is.
You're trying to power grab. You know that the
literally not.
Hey. You know that the Distributists and the Republicans are best friends, okay? You know that whoever wins, if the GOP wins, that they will automatically pick a Distributist. They will automatically pick a Distributist as vice president. You know this. I know this. We all know this.
GOP and the Distributists are best friends for life.
Exactly. So you know automatically that if the GOP wins, they will automatically pick a Distributist vice president.
No, because the way
it
works.
That is exactly why you are pushing for this.
Listen, Nate. Listen up. Basically, actually, something that has gone on in the GOP that I heard about is the fact that none of the leadership can be involved in the presidential. I truly do believe anyone should be able to pick whatever VP they want, across the board.
I truly believe the runner-up. I'm just saying, if the party... Okay, now I've already explained this like a dozen times. I'm not going to explain it again.
Well, what does Alan think? Alan, let's hear you.
Alan plays with you, if I recall correctly.
Why don't you just fish me in to be your knight in shining armor? Anyhow, so there's on one hand, Brooke at least sounds like she's making a little bit of sense when it comes to, this would make a great ticket. These two people would work well together. But there's one thing that you're neglecting to look at, And what you're neglecting to look at is that when we end up with a Republican to distribute us on the ticket, we're going to screw around and think we're going to have a Sam situation go down in the Central State again. And whose fault is it going to be? It's going to be ours because we pushed this so hard for this irrelevant vice presidential position that you're pushing so hard to get.
But that's implying that you're going to pick a distributist. You don't have to pick one.
I just got shut up.
We all know the Republicans will pick.
Mouth. I just got through saying at the beginning of this conversation that both of my candidates were like, oh, we don't even know any libertarians. We're just going to have to figure out who some of them are. And you're like, oh, yeah, it's whatever. And now you're like, oh, well, what if we don't pick a distributist? Like, what libertarian are they going to pick?
Alan, need I remind you, when I ran the first time, I was only in this in for a month. I literally knew no one. Okay, I found out about people through the Sunrise Chat. I think the Sunrise Chat is a great ability for people to meet people from other parties. And for example, I mean, if I just found out that Ubi existed. Like, I did not know that Ubi existed until today. I could quite literally pick Ubi as my running mate.
Who?
Ubi, the guy. His name is GLW.
Generic lone wolf. GLW.
Yeah, that bitch. Yeah. And that's because I literally spoke to him today. Like, I did not speak to him before. The parties have a hard time, I guess, like,
he's been in this chat for several months. If you ever wanted to,
he doesn't talk to me. He doesn't talk
I mean,
to me.
LQ isn't active.
Yeah, I wasn't active in this chat because I've been busy doing IRL stuff, like legit IRL stuff.
Got a badass over here.
True.
I'm sorry, I work at Capitol.
We got a badass over here.
Anyway, aside from that, yeah, no, I think, again, like, I truly believe that when we open up communications to all three of our parties, this will make a lot more sense. Because, again, like, I did not know, when I first joined, like, I did not know any distributists. I did not know any GOP. I did not know any, I mean, I only knew the Libertarians. I literally just stayed. You remember, I would go to the Libertarian Party Discord, and I would speak to people for hours upon hours a day. Okay. And that's literally all I would do. Okay? Yes, Alan?
Let's look at this from a real-life perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Someone runs for, Donald Trump runs for president. Donald Trump becomes the party's nominee. Donald Trump is not a social conservative, and Donald Trump has to win over all of the social conservatives. There are way more social conservatives in the Republican Party than, say, Liberty Republicans, okay? So he picks good old Mike Pence to be his running mate because he's got way more Christians to appease than he does Liberty Republicans. And that's how that works, because he's going to optimally get more votes that way. It just makes sense when you're trying to piece that together.
Exactly. And I agree with you, and that's why you should be open to whoever you want Sunrise, as long as they're not from your own party.
How are we going to be appeasing this large group? Like, I mean, I you make sense to say that two people need to be able to be well acquainted with each other on a ticket.
It obviously didn't work. It didn't matter who obviously it didn't matter who the nominee at the end of the day was, and if they had a libertarian candidate with them, it didn't unify Sunrise, and because obviously it was a force.
Honestly, if the Libertarians won the primary last Sunrise Coalition, we could have won the White House, but I digress.
But they didn't want that, but whatever. Yeah, exactly. I think Seandles, I think, is making sense. Putting for the ticket that can win is all that matters. Absolutely. And so if those tickets don't happen to be...
You're putting out contradicting logic to your own point.
No, I'm just turning points to suit what I'm saying. Because...
suit your party and the powers. No, I'm just kidding.
Because a ticket... No,
I literally did not write that bill. I did not write that bill. I'm not asking for things. I'm literally asking for things that will benefit all parties. So it's fair.
It might benefit all parties per se. as far as their fee-fees go. But what's going to end
Well,
up
isn't that what's
happening?
important for our constituents? Like, do you not want like us to go
Maybe,
back to
maybe, maybe it's not their fee-fees, maybe it's your fee-fees. But
no?
the the fact of the matter is, we need a ticket that can win.
Hold on,
And you're
I
going to
need to
say,
put this on my charger.
okay. You're going to say, yeah,
Okay.
that uh your thing is supposedly going to help that or whatever. But either way, there's a chance that some libertarian is going to have their heads stuck so far up their own anus
Well, if
that they're
libertarians
going to.
never get their way, they always run out of the freaking thing,
Didn't
and they
you
create
just
a thing
threaten
where
to
they
do that
collect
a second ago?
No,
Didn't
because
you
I'm
just
here.
no?
Brooke, you just said you would leave if you didn't get
Just said
that.
you would leave the coalition if you didn't get your way, like 10 minutes ago.
And this is the deal that we're discussing. The problem is with libertarians is even if you have a deal, they will still walk out. They will still walk, even if there's like a deal. I mean, Sunrise happened, right? We did not support the nominee. He literally went against the deal, right? As
There
it was
may be-
established. This is
We
the deal that we're
left
in
the party.
discussions of.
We left the party, okay? So the libertarians actually did not back out of the deal.
If you remember his delegates that were libertarian, basically they were conducive to that. So, I mean,
No, they
whatever.
still voted for Enconis.
Point is, actually, some of them actually did not vote for Enconis, but whatever.
I mean, neither did I, but
Lol, see, you even broke it too. So what we're looking at here is we're talking about we don't even have Sunrise signed yet. This is a deal that we are discussing. If I don't like the deal, it's perfectly valid for me to walk out. If it's not going to benefit my party,
that's fine. But don't pull that card and say, "Oh,
No,
so and
because
so almost walked out," because you're going to turn around and use it too. That's hypocritical.
Listen up. That's a false comparison, and I'll tell you why. Because what Nate was referring to is libertarians getting all pissed, and then during the actual Sunrise election, when we already have the deals, him claiming that they're just gonna like walk out and not vote. That's against the deal.
That's just saying if we sign it, we might not sign it if like that. Like I'll say what Brooke said. We might walk out. I mean, I'm just saying we've done it before.
Look. There's a note to be made here. And the note that needs to be made here is, of course, there's going to be a possibility that one of them are going to go out on their own looking at history. There's always a possibility that could happen from anyone's party. But you're not helping that possibility get any smaller by not having an all-inclusive ticket.
All-inclusive tickets, I think, are objectively a good thing. So.
Well, I mean, of course you would.
I mean, you would too. I feel like your candidate should be able, and libertarians too, all of your candidates should be able to pick whoever they want in Sunrise, since we are a coalition. Like,
I'm just saying that putting myself in Nate's shoes, I
understand that's what his party wants, right?
No. Well, then I'll take this from my perspective. If a libertarian or a distributist is to win and then pick another libertarian or distributist to be on their ticket, I don't feel as compelled to make sure all of my Republicans vote for it, because I don't feel that Republicans are being adequately represented in this coalition.
Well, then why don't we make a rule about cabinet? How like a certain percentage.
Cabinet positions are more worthless than the vice presidency.
Actually, no. Like some cabinet
positions. Yes. No. They make one post a month. LOL. What?
Well, I mean, that's all up to you. I mean, if you're a cabinet position and you don't do anything,
when has the cabinet ever been useful? I mean, okay, sure, quote, the congressman was kidnapped, unquote. Okay, events board, thank you. We got, a one-page, bombing from that, thanks. But, other than that, like, cabinet positions does nothing. It does nothing. Vice presidency at least assures, in case the president were to resign or to quit the sim, that the vice president would take over, okay? That's a good spot. It also makes sure in the midterms, if the Senate is tied, that there's a tie-breaking vote, okay? Like, the Senate could change after the midterms. So the vice presidency has at least some power in the near future. The cabinet, What?
Are you
When
saying
have
the
you ever
Secretary of
seen
State doesn't do anything? Then why did you guys make
the
Dweeb as
Secretary of State does
anything
nothing? Model
a big
UN
deal?
is abolished. What do you mean? When has Cynthia or Savag done anything? Okay, I can't even like remember the last time anything has happened with that position in the sim. At least I don't care about in real life comparisons. I'm talking about in sim where players can experience the best of their ability. Okay, and that is why I'm trying to push my party forward. And I'll admit it, I'm a partisan hack. Okay, like I'm the chairman of the Libertarian Party. I'm gonna do what's best for my party. Okay, and if that's
I'm the chairman
pushing for the
of Distributist, and I'm doing what's
spot,
best for mine.
okay, that's fine. But I mean, truthfully, I'm looking out for more people.
And if I want to put a libertarian on my ticket, fine. If I want to put a GOP on my ticket, fine. I don't really care. I mean, as I established, like Midwest should just be like free reign. Like no one should be given anything, in my opinion. I mean, that's already kind of past us. If you want us, fine. But if you're gonna cuck us and you're gonna walk over us, like that's not okay. And I'm not willing to sign something that's gonna walk us over, not giving us a chance at anything. Because I do have other people that are offering me deals, and so I'm willing to take them, and they offer me a lot more. So.
Okay, when you threaten us like that, Brooke, it really doesn't make you out as the good guy or good girl, okay?
No,
like,
because
okay, and I'll be honest here. I just told you earlier that we are only we ourselves decided to run only half a ballot in Midwestern. Okay, we did that so we wouldn't overly fuck the distributists. Okay, we're did that so you guys could have more seats.
About how we can benefit everyone in this coalition, and you're gonna step out on a limb and, oh well, I don't even have to be here, and that comes off as pretty pissy. Like, I mean, why would you say something?
The thing is, if my party has no chance at winning the presidency or being on anyone's ticket, why even? There's no benefit to anyone.
Only two. Let me tell you something. Let me give you a reality lesson, okay? Only two parties can be on the White House, okay? That's two parties out of 6 in the sim, okay? Do you feel like any other party? Like, okay? Do you realize what the Democrats feel? Okay, they still went with it, okay? The Dems are bigger than the Soaks and the Green Lefts, okay? And they still went with their deal, okay? Sometimes you have to give a little, okay?
The matter,
okay.
The matter is, the only people that like the distributists and libertarians have not had a president in the sim, but the libertarians have had someone in the White House in the sim before. The distributists have not.
That's because in the past and historically, I don't know your numbers now, but historically we have had more members, which have helped us with our dealings. Okay.
Again,
I mean, if you guys were to show up with if you guys were to show up with 1,000 members tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, hell yeah, let the distributors be the front runner. I don't care. But historically, the only reason why we were on the ticket in the first place with the Republicans and the Democrats was because we could guarantee them votes. Okay, and that's everything about coalitions, is getting the votes. And if you don't have that, you're not going to be a major player in the coalition.
Right, but again, what we're talking about here is if we want to put a ticket out that people will want to vote for, including independents, potentially because they're a toss-up as well.
You're saying out of 300 libertarians, there's not one single person who would be a favorable candidate.
I mean, there could be. There could be, and I might pick one, for example. But I shouldn't feel forced to pick one. There's tons of people from other parties who are great picks for whoever. If you want to pick a GOP, great. If you want to pick a distributist, great. I should be able to do the same as well. And the GOP should be able to.
How is that fair to the other party, though?
Well, then why is it fair that the libertarians are basically guaranteed a ticket and no one else is? Potentially.
The Republicans were also guaranteed it too.
Well, I mean, if we do this pick a partner thing, one of us are going to get screwed over. That's just the fact.
I mean, I'm just saying the two largest parties should be like it.
No, I think that when you're voting for people, it should be the person that people vote for. And if your ticket, for example, gets more votes.
Exactly. It should be the person who people vote for. So when person A gets 200 votes and
Okay, then
gets
how about this?
180 votes, then the people have spoken for the two candidates. Okay,
Well,
that
Sandals-
means that the runner-up should be the candidate for vice presidency. How is that not difficult to understand?
Two things. Sandals number he responded to something that's actually false. Mostly when I ran, libertarians didn't vote for me, distributists did. But number two,
Well, the libertarians were split between two people. Of course, not a majority would vote.
Nate, can you shut up for a second? Because I didn't do that.
I mean, I'm just rebuttaling your opinion.
Christ.
Number two. How about this? How about if you want to be a primary candidate in Sunrise, and this is again with the idea in mind that you can pick whoever you want as your VP in Sunrise. You have to run with your ticket at the start when you announce you're running. So it's not just like up in the air. Like if someone by popular vote wins according to the rules of Sunrise, the primary, that's the ticket. Fair and square. Fair and square.
Why would they do that?
Why not?
Having announced their vice presidency at the beginning?
Yeah, so you can pick your ticket like right as you announce. It makes it very open. Makes sense.
I'm gonna die of a stroke at the age of 18.
Again, I mean, if we're going with that plan, that's fine, but I don't like that plan. I think the runner-up should be the vice president. Why don't we put it to a vote to the whole coalition? Right? Like, okay, we sign a deal. We say that whichever VP, whatever VP suggestion wins a coalition vote is what happens. Like that can be included in the deal, and then we can see what the coalition wants itself.
Well, that just wastes more time, doesn't it? I mean, why?
We've wasted a month with no talk. I mean, if you're gonna walk out because of or if we're gonna walk out, if one of us walks out because the leadership of the party doesn't want the other suggestion, then that's pretty unfair to the party itself. So why don't we give the party themselves the opportunity to vote that position?
I mean, sure, but I mean, I feel like it'd be easier just to have it open. It just seems like we're wasting more time.
Oh my god.
I'll be right back.
Because of reasons not go on.
Okay.
So are we actually going
I
to
had a
come to an
mute
agreement, or are we
there.
just going to keep yelling at each other?
Probably not.
Maybe it would help if two different people were the ones discussing this.
I mean, I've been asking you guys in the libertarian chat to come on, voice chat, and help.
I mean, I'm the only one talking for the distributors at the moment.
I mean, Brooke's kind of in a special place right now because her other leaders are kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm just being honest here.
I mean, you haven't said anything that I didn't suggest or imply when I talked to her earlier.
Well, I mean, not just you, but other people. I mean, other people have insights and stuff that I haven't said, so.
I mean, my position's the same. Alan probably has more nuance in the issue than both of us at this point.
Alan just wants to shoot himself.
Like, because on one hand, Brooke's logic, like what she's saying makes a little bit of sense, but so what she's trying to say makes a little bit of sense, but what she's backing it up with doesn't. And it overall, like, I mean, I would love for any possibility to come up where your party would have the opportunity to be in the White House, and they do, because that's the point of doing a primary. We all have a shot at being on the ticket.
Yeah.
If you lose that, somebody has to be bottom.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it shouldn't be guaranteed
Okay,
from the
let me-
no.
Let me make okay, go ahead.
The people who shouldn't be on the bottom are the people who have the numbers to back themselves up. If you want to stop being prestigious about the numbers on your subreddit and come and tell us what numbers you can actually back up your talk with, then we can continue to have a conversation about your proposal. But until that day comes,
Yeah, but
there's
Alan, like,
there's
I
there's
can't
number
give
there are
confidential
numbers
information
to
other party
back up.
leaders. That's retarded. Like, I
Dude,
can't
I
do
just said out
That's
loud
illegal.
what size our party is. I
Do not
mean, God,
comprehend
how difficult is
that's
it?
key. That's key to these negotiations. What manpower you have, and if you can't tell us what manpower you have, then we're going to assume that you have none, and you're going to get screwed out of the deal. So if you have numbers that could put you in a better place of negotiation, I would suggest that you put them out on the table.
They're just numbers. They're not names. What's the problem?
I mean, numbers. I mean, okay. 300. We have 300 in the Libertarian Party from last I checked, and Val is going to be triggered so hard that I just revealed this information. But okay, we had 300. We had less than that. We had less than that in the state elections, and we still had 150 votes. I mean, it's not just about names, and that's what I was trying to get at that point.
I mean, we have more than 30 members. I can just tell you that right now. And we're growing exponentially.
Look,
And we're growing exponentially. And if you're going to
listen.
laugh at me, I will not have this conversation with you anymore.
All I'm saying is that you need to put some walk with your talk. Is all I'm saying. We can't.
There are more people joining every day.
That's fantastic, and I'm happy for your party. But that still doesn't
Thanks.
change anything.
I'm telling you, dude. I literally, the Distributist Party is very, very strict about releasing confidential information on the subreddit. That is confidential information. I will not give out confidential information from my subreddit. That is a fact that
that leaves us to two options. Either what you're telling us isn't correct, or let me hold on. Let me just think.
Alan, please.
You've just
I mean, I told
nerves in my brain.
GLW. I told GLW something earlier today about the amount of people I had in Midwest. But that was a sort of mistake that I sort of slipped. But it's not my subreddit. But there's obviously more people in my subreddit than there is in the people in the Midwest. And as Ubi heard, like there's quite a number of people in the Midwest.
I understand that if you've got like an ethics thing in your party that you wouldn't want to tell us about that or whatever. But
right,
I mean,
if you it's not some randos.
Hold on. I would suggest that if these are numbers that could put you in a place of leverage to have negotiations with us, that you get it cleared up with your leadership, that you be able to talk about that with us here. Because if you do have these numbers that you speak so highly of, and you don't use them in these negotiations, and you get yourself screwed, that's on your head because you didn't share those numbers with us. So either something is being exaggerated to us, these numbers aren't correct, or I don't know what. You just need to get that cleared up, because if these are real numbers, we need to know about them, because this changes things, so you say. But if these numbers don't exist, then you shouldn't be pushing so hard for this right now. It's just bullcrap.
I mean, look, I'm not only here to advocate for the primary for my party. I just genuinely, ideologically, and I was advocating this before this. Way back when Sunrise 2.0 happened, I was like, it is bullshit that I have to pick a GOP as my running mate because at the time I did not want to pick a GOP member. I wanted to pick either an LP or I wanted to pick a distributist. That was the fact. I mean, now I would not advocate for you to have like a dual party like ticket, but everyone should still be able to pick whoever they want from the other Sunrise parties. Like for me, I mean, this is not something that I'm just screaming now because, you know, my party, but like this is something I've consistently advocated for continuously. Right, but Sienna, I don't think you recognize how popular I am with other parties. Like, it actually would not be a bad decision to have me as a VP, potentially.
Oh wait, so this is for you personally to be VP?
No, because I'm already running my primary as a presidential primary. It wouldn't make sense for me to be in a VP ticket.
And what did that point have to do with anything?
Yeah, exactly.
You should be. This is great content.
I look forward to
Model
hearing
US Gov
give
history gold
each other
right here.
tude.
I didn't think there was going to be an issue, but there was.
Oh, were you wrong?
God.
Well, evidently, because I thought it was pretty logical to think that, but I mean,
It's pretty logical to think the runner-up.
Oh, see, there we go. Yeah.
Like, I wasn't even advocating for the wrong, but I mean, genuinely, that would
Mike's
most
cutting
like
out.
those. Oh God, kill me. I'd rather just die. So originally I wasn't even for the runner up thing, but it's better than just having free range because we're in this not for our parties but for like the coalition. Like once we sign this deal, we're one entity, and we need to be sure that. And you're probably just gonna say, yeah, that's what I'm gonna use that logic for my point too, but it doesn't work that way. That that's the most optimal way to be able to
I mean,
get
it's more reasonable.
the most
It's
votes.
more reasonable than the other alternative. But I mean, I still don't think it's the best option.
Well, I mean, if we can find that as common ground, then let's find it as common ground.
I mean, I'm not very enthusiastically pro that option though.
Well, I'm not very enthusiastically pro your option either. So we have to find common ground. Because it's not going to get us the most votes. I don't see how you don't see that.
Well, if people aren't voting for the candidate in the election after like you mass PM people and be like, oh yeah, these are our people, you got to vote for them. Like,
so when it comes to
there's a problem with the parties.
No, listen to me. Our memberships of our parties see nothing but what we're going to be getting. And if they feel that and this goes for the Libertarian Party and your party as well, they're going to know what they think our parties should, at their highest level, be entitled to. And when we come back to them and tell them that we've been screwed out of what they think that we should be entitled to, there's going to be hell to pay. And we're trying to avoid that. And I understand you're going to say that that's the case for your party too, and it should be. But somebody has to bring numbers to the table to back up their
Oh, my phone's shutting off.
We're all going to bring our numbers to the table once this is all said and done, and it all comes down to whose party has more voters that are going to be shunned out, because that's what's going to be optimal for the coalition itself.
But if the LP can't incentivize their members to vote for the person who wins the Sunrise Coalition, I think that's an issue on the LP's part and not.
Well,
anyone.
why would they even care if with their massive voter base that they didn't even get a spot on the ticket?
Well, I
And
mean,
if we want to bring up the past with the libertarians pulling out, why can't we also pull up the past with y'all conveniently forgetting to PM your entire approved submitters list? How do we
Right.
know that isn't going to happen again?
Right, because Pokarner isn't dealing with that anymore. That's my job now, so that won't happen again.
What's Pokehonor's job?
He's supposed to recruit and send people mod mail when there's elections, and he did neither of them. So yeah, that's my job now. And it took, unfortunately, 2 elections to realize that Pokarner wasn't doing his job. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
That also just kind of blows my mind how you didn't go out on a witch hunt after you had the performance that you had to figure out what happened. If it took you 2 elections to figure out what happened, I'm a little bit startled.
Well, no, because the first election, Pokarner said, "Oh, it won't happen again," and then I'm like, "Okay, fine, I trust him because, he's my whip, whatever, and he's active." And then the second time it happened, yeah, that was something I did not think was going to happen, and I was wrong to trust him. So evidently that's not happening now. It's not going to happen again, and we're not going to get 30 votes. That's for sure. So
I really hope that's the case, but when it comes to these negotiations, typically we go off of the last election. I know that in the last Sunrise negotiations, the Libertarians used the numbers that they had pre that negotiation, but when it came down to the federal election, they ended up not having the same proportional numbers to what happened in the election beforehand. But since they had the numbers going in to the convention, they had more stomping ground when it came to, they had more leverage because of the numbers that they put up beforehand. So if you have something better, and I'm going to say this is it may not even be the last time I say it. It might need to be reiterated to you again, but if you have better numbers than what you've put up in the most recent election, and you have to go through your leadership or your party to be able to get those confidential numbers to be able to be used in this negotiation, I would suggest that you do that. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be on the ticket.
okay, well, if you tagged him in this chat and it's coming from you and you ask for the numbers, fine, I'll give them to you. But again, like me on my own, I cannot give you the